Welcome back to the Art of Hobbiness. I'm Erin, joined by my co-host Tam.
Hi!
And today we are going to be talking about a concept called hobby hopping.
Yeah.
And how trying out different hobbies can really help you just in a lot of ways in life. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to explore that a little bit more. Mm-hmm. We both dabbled in a lot of hobbies through this journey, and we've met a lot of people that are, I feel like, self-proclaimed hobby dabblers.
Yeah.
And so just kind of exploring the benefits of that and as opposed to just sticking with the same things all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think because if I talk about how my struggles trying to even break into being somebody who has hobbies prior to this, when I had zero, right? Was I think I had this expectation that you had to have one and you had to be so good at it. Like you had to master it, right? Otherwise, it didn't count as a hobby.
Yes.
And I think just having that prerequisite in my head prevented me from trying to
I agree. I 100% agree.
Begin, right?
Yeah.
Especially because, like, we're, recovering perfectionists, right? So I would say that we would agree that anything that we touch at, prior to this, we were like, well, we have to be perfect at the best at it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the idea of trying to explore a hobby just was too much.
Yes.
So hobby hopping is a really great way for people like us to kind of overcome that perfectionism because it's kind of helping you practice, not necessarily doing something just to be perfect at it. It's doing something just to get something out of it, right?
Right. And I think like when we started this journey of trying different hobbies, we didn't even realize that was what was going to happen.
No, not
right?
at all.
Like we didn't know that benefit that we were going to find.
Right.
But here a year later, I look back to I remember like one of my hobbies was trying a piano, and I remember years ago I wanted to get a piano or start piano lessons, and I always felt like, I don't want to invest in I felt like I had to invest in a really nice piano to start, because for some reason I felt like that was just like a prerequisite, and it wasn't worth it if I just got something like inexpensive. And then you kindly shared your keyboard with your your daughter's keyboard with me, and I feel like I had a lot of fun with it, and it was just, I was surprised, and I never got very good at it,
right?
But it was I felt like that was the one that really sticks out, that really helped me realize, okay, I don't need the best equipment. You can just kind of start something and see how it goes, see if you even like it. And, and also helped, that was one where I was like, well, it's kind of hard and I'm not good at this. And it was okay. And it was okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Okay, so you have doubled into piano several times in your life, right? Yeah. But obviously didn't stick with it.
Right.
Prior to this, right, our podcast, would you have claimed piano as a hobby?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Now that you are on this hobby journey, would you have said that piano was a hobby?
Yeah, I would say I dabbled in piano.
See, there is truth to
Definitely.
it. Okay, so because I think as like professional women who have that recovering perfectionism, right? I think we originally had this idea that if you didn't stick with a hobby for like, I don't know,
forever. You felt like it was like once you started
felt like you were committed. Yes, like you were stuck to
That's
this
kind of what
thing.
I always felt like.
Yes.
Like that if you commit to something, you'd have to stick with it. I'm like, well,
Forever.
I don't want that.
Forever, all the time. And then you're like, well, I hate this thing. And now this is part of me now. And now I have to identify as this person. Yes. And that's not the truth at all, right? Like, I don't think that you have to stick with a hobby, from my personal experience, that you don't have to stick with a hobby to claim it as a hobby, right? Like you can say that you had this hobby for this period of time or this chapter, and that's good enough.
Absolutely. That is good enough. And I think it gives you, something to talk to other people about if they are into those things. It gives you just a little bit of knowledge about that. I was just thinking another thing, like an added benefit that I didn't realize was this idea of stopping. Like another thing, I used to be somebody who would, like, if I hated a book I was reading, I felt like I had to finish it.
Yes.
And now I give myself permission to not do
job.
that, And that's like makes my life better.
So much better.
So much better. Just get rid of those frustrations of.
Well, I think and I wonder if it's the same thing for you. For me, it's almost kind of changing my definition of stopping something. Because I think prior to this, I equated giving up on something as giving up, failing.
Yeah.
Like I put negative words on those hobbies, right? If I gave them up, and then I was like, and then I never wanted to talk about them with people because it was admitting I had a failure or I was a quitter about something, and that couldn't possibly be something that me as this perfectionist could ever put out there and talk about with my friends, right? So in kind of being on this podcast and being essentially the hobby dabbler, I've changed the word from being more of failure and quitting to more just curiosity. Like I'm just curious about stuff now. And so whenever I jump in and I've kind of learned a little bit about it, to know that it's like, it's interesting, just not my thing. I can just walk away from it, but I'm not seeing it as like I failed or I quit. I was just like, I just wasn't that interesting anymore.
Yeah. And you feel like you're much more likely to just try something than before.
Yeah. Because it goes back to that practice, right? That the hobby dabbling gives you practice in starting something, trying something, being resourceful and trying something, and then being able to comfortably walk away without feeling like failure. It's truly just me being like, it's just not as interesting as I thought it would be, and move on. But since I don't have that failure connotation on it, now when I want to talk to people about it, because I want to be like, oh, I tried this interesting thing. It didn't quite go as good as
there's so much less pressure on you, right? To be the perfect and to complete something. And absolutely. It just makes it way more enjoyable.
I just don't feel like I'm admitting like that I failed at something to somebody. Instead, I'm admitting to somebody that I tried something and it was really interesting, but it just wasn't my jam. And I feel like it's creating conversations with people. It's giving me topics to have conversations with people, which is helping me make friends.
Yeah, well, it's making you more like multifaceted, right? Or making us more, just having more commonalities with people. Yeah.
Well, and I think another point that we could note about like hobby dabbling is if you dabble in a lot of different hobbies, it also gives you different tools to kind of jump into based on your emotions. So as an example, something I've learned about myself is there are times where I feel that at work I have a project that maybe just has zero creativity, right? And I just feel like I have that creative piece missing. So then when I'm home, the hobbies that I'm looking for that I'm more interested in are the ones that are more on the creative side or more like colorful side that are kind of making me feel like I'm getting that outlet. Whereas on the flip side, if I'm at work and I have something that I feel like is really challenging me and is making me learn something new and I'm really into it, I don't necessarily want to come home and keep being challenged all day long, because then I get tired.
Absolutely. You can really customize your hobbies to what you need at that point in your life.
Yeah, it's really great. And, because I have tried a bunch of different hobbies, I have a bunch of different leftover supplies that it's really easy to just kind of walk into my basement, go into my hobby space, just grab a couple of things, just kind of doodle around or practice with something. I don't feel that I have to fully produce something, right? I can just do it until I've filled my cup, or until my children come in and start taking over what I've started. And then I just kind of move on.
Yeah. Well, it can help you decompress from a stressful day.
Absolutely.
Right? Or what you're saying, like light you up if you feel like your day was really boring or something like that. So it can go either way. I think that's a great point. And I came across this idea of like, we've found that hobby hopping and dabbling hobbies it almost gives you a little new skill or a little gift to your personality every time you try something. I feel like it is a gift to yourself,
Yes. Especially as a mom, because, I think, we talk about the challenges of like finding yourself after you kind of are coming out of that mom fog, right? You've got your newborn and you're just like, you just were engulfed in all of that. And you're trying to figure out who you are. I think if you embrace dabbling in hobbies a bit, I think it gives you an opportunity to really try to find that version of you, right? And
get back to yourself, explore. And in a like you can do it in little snippets, It's very like just trying things. And I think we were very big proponents of just trying short little hobbies in the beginning. Like it's easier to just commit 10 or 15 minutes in the beginning, and then that naturally grows. That desire to do that, you want to do more and more.
I agree. And I think, you can almost kind of kind of almost create chapters in your exploration too of the hobbies. Because like if you keep it like mom-centered, you could be like, okay, for the summer. So summer's coming up here, right? And you and I were just talking about how we're like, what are we going to do this summer? And I'm sure you're like me thinking, all right, where can I pull from my hobby tool skill set? I feel like you can almost kind of create chapters of your hobbies.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think in just a previous episode, we just talked about how I'm in my season of not hobby hopping so much, and dabbling.
And that's okay. Like, that's what's good for you right now, right? Whereas summertime, maybe you transition into like all the color, like creative and colorful hobbies because your kid's home and you want to make sure your kids are being distracted, so that you can continue working or so that you can get the things done that you need around the house. So I think it's really great to be able to have a bunch of skill sets in different hobby sectors that you can just kind of pull together and group and just like transition those through the seasons or even just the seasons of your personality.
Yeah, or your life. Yeah, I agree. So there's so many benefits. And, I don't think without doing this podcast, we would have realized that and just having that experience. So I think our message to everybody would be just pick something this week. So like start with like a small hobby that you've been thinking in the back of your brain and just do it. Don't like let go of that barrier to entry. Just you don't need the most perfect tools or the most expensive things. You don't need to know. You don't even really need to know what you're doing.
You don't need to know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Just like start something, right? And then you will find it's kind of incredible how just starting something will get you out of that, I don't know, that rat race and pull you into something that's just like a lot more colorful and creative. Just more fun in life.
It gives you permission to find you and to be you intentionally without trying to pretend to be a version of yourself that you think you need to be or that society wants you to be. And that's really freeing. Like,
it is.
You don't realize how freeing that could be until you're in it. And then you just feel your shoulders going down and you just feel yourself lifting up. And then you can feel the energy I really do feel like moms are kind of, that core. They set the tone of like that energy that spreads out with that family, right? And if you feel more full, you feel more creative and more relaxed. Yeah. It spreads through your family and everybody feels that same. It gives them all permission to do the same and it builds a better, happier culture.
Yeah. No, I agree. So many benefits.
So many benefits to hobbies.
That's right. So if you've ever been thinking about hobbies, just dabble in them to start with. Just try it. Just try it.
You don't need to be a master. Just try. I just personally don't feel that I am in a phase where I need to be the master of one hobby. Right. I think I just really like trying hobbies, and I think that that's okay.
Yep. I agree. Well, should we wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
All right. Thanks for joining us today on The Art of Hobbiness.
Bring us home.
We hope you join us next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Hobbiness. Be sure to leave a review and rating. And for a little extra Erin and Tam fun, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Pinterest for behind-the-scenes footage of our journey to find hobbiness.